to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
Midwest Bank is proud to be your local community bank right here in Lincoln. This is Travis with Midwest Bank, now with 2 branches conveniently serving Lincoln and 8 other locations across Nebraska. We're here to help you with any of your needs. From opening a checking account to buying a home or financing your business, our staff is here for you. Stop in and you might see Shin Daddy himself. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Learn more at midwest.bank, member FDIC.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after their tailgate mishaps? Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right! Most recommended! Eustace Body Shop! Woohoo!
Dude, you should be on American Idol.
You really think so?
No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If it happens to you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Attention students and anyone else looking for a great deal. Sun Valley Lanes and Games has the ultimate weeknight special. For just $15.95, enjoy unlimited bowling, lucky putt mini golf, and laser tag. Flash your college ID at check-in to receive $2 off your admission. It's the perfect way to unwind Sunday through Thursday nights. Check out sunvalleylanes.com for hours and availability. Sun Valley Lanes and Games, located at 321 Victory Lane.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
Explain to me again why we're sleeping on the ground.
Because we're thramping, thrift camping. It's saving us money and getting us closer to nature.
But we don't need to thramp. I just combined our home and auto insurance with our State Farm agent, so we have a rate that fits our budget.
All right. Do you think our agent can bring us an air mattress?
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Individual premiums and budgets will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
An hour ago, you didn't need a plumber. Now you're in a panic. When life throws you a surprise with a clogged drain, plugged or leaky toilet, broken pipe, leaky faucet or water heater, or a bathroom or kitchen plumbing upgrade, whatever. Just call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing, 467-1111. Keep that number handy, 467-1111. Or go to BryantLincoln.com. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown. 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
DeMornay Pierson-El.
Not only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in to Ticket Weeknights. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. As always, this is the Don't Punt Hour. We got the former Husker wide receiver, DeMornay Pierson-El, streaming in as always. If you guys want to join in, you start him 464-5685. You can also put a Facebook voice, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. If you got Allo Cable, we're going to dive into a lot of Husker football today, as this will be our last show before next week, and hopefully we can talk about a Husker win come Monday. But we do got some NFL tonight as well, and now I want to start there before this game actually kicks off. We got the 3-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Atlanta Falcons, 2-2. Good morning, Pierson-El. Who do you got tonight?
Ooh, I want to say Tampa Bay. Like I really do, but I think the more and more this Atlanta team kind of grows and whatnot this year, I think you would have to keep an eye out on them. It's an in division, a rivalry. Baker's playing, out of his mind right now, so I'm taking a hotter team. So I'm going with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, what's the ceiling on Baker Mayfield this year? Because right now, you can make the case he's in the running for MVP just based off the numbers. Now, does this stay? Is that something you want to project going forward? But what's the ceiling for Baker Mayfield and this Buccaneers team? Like, is this, definitely a playoff contender, but do you think they may be able to sniff Super Bowl this year as well?
No, I don't think they're a Super Bowl caliber team. Are they a deep run into the playoffs type of team? Yes. But it just depends on who you kind of get first or second. You know what I mean? If depending on where the Lions place it, either at the number 1 seed or number 2 seed, I don't think there's too many teams getting past them. You got Philly, which I know people are talking about how Philly looks right now. Philly isn't healthy. They got a lot of weapons out, and they're just kind of treading water right now. But they are a Super Bowl caliber team, and then you got the 49ers, regardless of what everybody wants to say with them. So I think the ceiling is probably the same place that they got to last year. And anything plus that is a plus, but I definitely think they're capable of probably winning their division. I definitely think they're capable, of being in the playoffs somewhere, either one of the spots in winning a division or in one of the wild card slots. So they're a sneaky team. They're playing good right now. Baker's, he's got the juice. This is vintage Baker that we're seeing. So he's comfortable, he's happy, and that's when you typically see him playing at his best.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just looking at some of these teams in the NFC North, like I think it'd be a learning step this year. Maybe they win that first round, but and just looking at the flip side of the coin, it's great looking at the Browns 1-3 right now. It's hard to not bring them up every time we mention Baker Mayfield, because they just got to be kicking themselves, putting a quarterback like Watson, who, yes, maybe he checks the boxes for some offenses, but we've talked about it before. He does not check the box for your offense, which made zero sense. Why? On top of all the extra noise around him at the time, it's like you took a risk and a risk on top of that one, not necessarily just by the fact that he's not the typical quarterback that fits your style that's given you any sort of success in all the recent years. Was the Baker Mayfield kind of West Coast run it with Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and just have Baker Mayfield kind of operate on a short passing scheme. And then they get Deshaun Watson, who's more athletic than Josh Allen, but a little bit in the same style, just absolute gunslingers, where they just want to go downfield with it. Watson, obviously a little more athletic, can use his legs, but yeah, it just never made entire sense. And I think the Browns are not going to be able to really put anything together this season. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it'll be fun to see how far they go, especially in that division, because if the Saints get Devontae Adams, that division looks different again, I think, because it's still plenty early in the season. The Saints have looked good already. I mean, they get Devontae Adams with that, and you've messaged me about it. You've talked about it on air. I don't think it'd take very long for Adams to get comfortable with the familiar faces around that area. Like the Saints, I don't know if the Buccaneers can hold on to that if they do land Devontae Adams. I think if that's the case, it's going to be a tight finish. And certainly I would think the Buccaneers or Saints get that wild card.
Exactly. If Tay does go down there, that changes the landscape, of things or whatnot.
Do you see him going anywhere else?
I can see the Jets. Honestly, the Jets have trade capital. They can, relinquish some pieces and whatnot. Devontae is coming back to the same offensive coordinator. So, I mean, the plays pretty much are going to be what they are. You have Aaron, who is what he is. So I can see that happening. I'm not too sure if they, have the draft capital to do so, but I mean, they got players to trade. I think Reddick hasn't, played at all or whatnot. I mean, you can ship him off to, to Vegas and kind of see if he can, get things going with Crosby and Wilkins there. So I mean, that's a little bit more enticing maybe than other places or whatnot. But like I said, it just depends because I still haven't checked in to see if Tays has a say so in a trade clause to where he can block certain places he can and can't go. I would be surprised if it's not in there, honestly. Like I would really be surprised. Typically, on those second and third year contracts where you got max contract type guys, that's kind of stipulation that's in there. We've seen it with Russell. We've seen it with Ayuk. What he was able to block certain things and whatnot. So it's very common. So I'm probably 80-85% sure it's in there, and if it's not, then that would be a lot more shocking than not.
Are you buying into the Jets this year? It was a little bit of a slow start with Rodgers, but I think you could have expected that a little bit. It does feel like things are clicking. There was some quote unquote drama between Saleh and Rodgers if that thing wasn't working, and if you're Saleh, you got to figure this thing out because you're on the way out if you don't.
I mean, you're a month into football.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Your quarterback is coming off of an Achilles injury. Like at time, they have looked consistent. At times, offense didn't play really good. At times, defense didn't play really good. So, I mean, I'm not saying, the ship is sinking and it's over because Aaron is still there regardless. He may not be as mobile as he usually is or whatnot. But honestly, their division isn't anything crazy. With Tua gone or with Tua down, the Dolphins are, don't seem to pose a threat. You got New England, who, I mean, they're just like oatmeal in the morning. They're tough to watch, tough to eat. It's tough to get through, every day. You got the Bills, who they just got spanked, and now you reevaluating, what they look like. So, I mean, they're sitting pretty good in their division. Like I don't get why people are like, oh my God, were you expecting them to be undefeated early on? Like he has a new leg. It takes some time to kind of get things situated. They're operating. They got to get, I think, a little bit more consistent with their run game, with trusting and whatnot. I think the coach kind of goes back and forth between Allen and Hall. So I mean, I think the more you get consistent with one back or dial up certain things, they'll be fine. I'm not concerned at all.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what you'd expect off a quarterback who came off his worst injury of his career and coming back in that fast. Like, I mean, that was one of the quickest turnarounds from that type of injury we've seen.
Yeah.
And then obviously missed some time trying to build up chemistry with wide receivers. And I think he's looking better as the games go by. So, and I'm also at the point, like you just mentioned, the rest of the division, I'd probably still go Bills to win the division, but I see them getting a wild card. Everybody after that's probably on the way out. But I mean, I think they'll be playing plenty of competitive football, and it's just going to look better every week going forward as long as they stay healthy enough. But that's kind of what I got for the Cliff Notes version of NFL. But I want to dive into some Husker football versus Rutgers. Right now, the spread hasn't moved since the last time we talked. It's still 7 favoring Nebraska. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, but I mean, when you think of Rutgers football, what kind of team were we playing here? We started playing them in 2015. Important, we've never lost to Rutgers, despite these games being pretty close, winning them in ugly ways. That's one of the teams who, despite all the horrible years of Nebraska football where it felt like everybody was getting payback, we've never let Rutgers beat us. So hopefully that stays around. But when you talk Greg Schiano, Rutgers football, what does that look like? What is the culture of Rutgers football?
I mean, he's been successful there. He was there before, he left to go pursue, other coaching jobs and whatnot. So one, he knows what it looks like, what it takes. Like, that's his backyard. He knows where to go and get kids from. He knows the lingo, and especially, on the East Coast, up and down, wherever you go, you got to be, familiar with the layout. That's just, with anything. But they're going to be a well-coached team. They have athletes. Honestly, like Rutgers, the university, like reminds me a lot of Maryland. And what I mean by that is, if you go to Maryland, you have a lot of kids that go all over the nation, to play ball and everything like that. And some kids, stay home. You've seen Stephon Diggs do it. And whatnot. You've seen, Vernon Davis, Torrey Smith, and those guys kind of stay home and create something. Rutgers has the ability to have those type of guys at home. You just needed the right coach to kind of get them to stay and to kind of, to get them to produce. And I feel like, with this coach being back there, he's getting more so of those type of players that might not pass, the eye test, or there might not, the 5 stars here or the 4 stars here, but they're good quality players that, that fits the system. Ray Rice, for an example, and whatnot, staying there, what he did there, and for him to go on to the NFL and, do what he did, those type of players. So, I mean, they're going to be a gritty team. They're going to be a scrappy team. They're a bend don't break on either sides of the ball. And they're going to get at you. I mean, that's what you're going to expect.
Yeah. And I think people like Rutgers, as weird as it is, really plays Big Ten football in a way that kind of exactly what you think of when you think of Big Ten football. I think just because they're so far out there over on the East Coast that you get a sense that they're going to want to air the ball out. They're going to want to try to get some unique, a lot of spread stuff. Greg Schiano's proven like it's pretty balanced run attack and pass game, and they don't have that type of offense where they're just dropping back every time, gunning it downfield. Mm-hmm. They're going to, first things first, in this game, I think there's a good chance for it to be some bad weather as well, with some good wind. They're going to try to establish the run. I mean, that is goal number one for Schiano, to open up that passing game for them. Because like I said, they're balanced to the point where that play action, if they get that run game working, can be a really big part of their offense, and how they're able to finally get the ball and move the sticks through the air is just getting your defense guessing. How confident are you that Nebraska's been able to not only stop the run, but shut it down early? Because I think we'll talk about the keys. I think that's one of the keys, especially in a bad weather game, that there's a chance it might be, if you let them start running the ball on you early, similar to what Illinois was able to do, I feel like we might see the same kind of result from the Nebraska defense where, it's not that the guys aren't playing hard, but we saw it against Illinois. I mean, guys were at the point where they just had to start. It looked like they were guessing. They're getting frustrated, and you just had wide open runs. I mean, it was multiple runs for Illinois where the first touch wasn't until a good 3 yards after the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, that's important in the Rutgers game is you got to shut down the run early and force their quarterback, who when he was playing for Minnesota, he hasn't lost to the Huskers yet. So now over at Rutgers, this is kind of his time to continue that streak if he wants to stay on top of it. But I do think with the Minnesota team, the difference was they were able to run the ball at will against us. You take away a complementary run game from this Rutgers team, I think their quarterback really struggles, and he's not going to be able to do enough to carry that offense. So, I mean, how confident are you that Nebraska's defense, Tony White, Terrence Knighton, and company are going to be able to shut Rutgers down early in the run game?
I like I said, I mean, if you go back and look at all the games, maybe except for, Illinois, like I said, that just wasn't our, best showing.
I thought you and I in there too. Yeah, that was more just yards after contact, though. More of a tackling issue than it was guys not being on the right spot.
Yeah, so, I mean, the defense, like I said, one thing's for certain, two things for sure. Whatever you do well, like that's typically, not the first thing that's going to beat us. You know what I mean? So, if you're running, whichever type of team you're out, evenly balanced or whatnot, if you're a running team, typically whatever you do best is taken away, and it's, try and beat us the opposite way. Missed assignments or, being greedy with trying to make big splashy plays and getting eyes in the backfield or not tackling or whatnot has crept up and hurt us at times. But with them, as long as they're the hammer and not the nail, they bring the physicality from the offense. I mean, from the defensive line standpoint, from a tackling and filling their gaps and whatnot. I have it's a home game. I have no doubt in my mind that early and often that will be taken away. We've seen it time and time again. Probably by the third series, small adjustments are already in, and it's like what they were getting the first two series is already taken away. So I mean, from the first series to the second series is a huge difference in jump in things. So I think this team will be tested a little bit on third downs, just because Rutgers, with their running attack and everything like that, they're typically in manageable third downs situations where they can convert. So you're gonna have to stay at home. You're gonna have to mind your P's and Q's to make plays to get them out of those situations that they're more so comfortable or used to converting over and whatnot. And I think that's going to be something to look at early on and for the defense to stop, to not allow them to to be in positions to where they're used to short yardage third downs or third and under 5 yards or whatnot and everything like that. Get them in uncomfortable situations for them and try and make you beat them outside of that.
Yeah, and we've seen that's when the splash shirt defense looks best.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got multiple situations when we know that it's crunch time and we got the team, if it's a 2-score game and we're getting to the fourth quarter, that pressure gets there pretty consistently. We saw it against Purdue. Illinois, we didn't really get a chance to see it because the game was too tight just to be sending the house, and Illinois did need to drop back and throw the ball. They could play it more patiently, but in those games where we know this team's got to drop back and they got to throw it, Nebraska's been able to rack up those sacks. Colorado being the most clear example because that was their offense. You knew that going in that they were going to maybe try to get the run game, see how it went, but for the most part, their game plan was to attack through the air. And when Nebraska's got that and they got it dialed up and they know and have a good idea what's coming from that offensive side of the ball, then you really see that black shirt front seven really start to get into the backfield and do a good job. So I think, to me, that's why it's so important. You stop the run. I think you got Rutgers in a panic, and maybe even earlier than you might expect. Their running back, he's all right. I don't think this is, a team with so much talent that you got to be super worried about, but obviously you don't want to overlook anybody either. Looking at this game for Nebraska as well, I mean, this is another big home game stand. You had a huge disappointment versus Illinois. How important is it to take care of the games you do get at home?
Very important. I mean, you got home field advantage. It's would have loved to been, undefeated at home this year. But I mean, each week, restart 1-0. But I mean, you protect this house. You can't, allow people to come in here and do what they want to do and dictate to certain things or whatnot. So it's definitely important to, get back on the track of things with that.
Yeah. And this is, why you got to take opportunity of those games, because these next ones, what you thought of Indiana before the season, they're legit. All right. That's the first year with that head coach, and they're 5-0. After 3 seasons of being absolutely abysmal, that team is 5-0. So that team in Bloomington, Indiana, it's going to be a problem, I think, for as long as that coach is there. Mm-hmm. And the reason why it's important to take care of those home games, you have one versus Illinois, a ranked opponent. You drop that one. Again, not the end of the season, but you got to take care of this one at home, because if you drop this one to Rutgers, then you're on the road against that Indiana team. That's been the biggest surprise, and they're legit. I don't care what anybody says. That is a team that, I will be more than happy if Nebraska is able to find a way to beat them, because that offense is capable, and that coach, he's got the best quote when he walked into that press conference, told everybody, "I win, Google me." And he's here 5-0. He wasn't lying. He wins. So they're going to have the confidence. And I think when you're dealing with a program like Indiana as well, when you've been bad for that long and you finally get some life and some magic in the air, I think they're hitting an all-time peak where their confidence is so high, they're feeling a little bit unstoppable, and that's just dangerous to play with. And you got those guys on the road. You got to imagine the fan base around there is going to be excited more than anything you've ever seen before heading to the road in Indiana before. Like, there is legit belief there. It's not going to be your usual trip. And then after that, you're on the road to Ohio State. That's 2 brutal road games, and maybe you circled Indiana before the season started, but now if you've been paying attention to college football, it's going to be probably a pretty close game. And then if you didn't drop that one to Illinois, maybe you got some wiggle room. But we talked about it on We Talk Facts. Nebraska doesn't have the privilege to quite sit here yet and feel comfortable at 4-1. You just being 2 games away from a bowl game, like, we can't be happy with that, because we've seen how this part of the season's gone in the past, where yes, we look good, we won some games early, and then we get to the cold weather, Big Ten conference play late season, and the whole thing seems to spiral out of control. So you can't take it for granted. Not going to panic because you dropped one to Illinois, but I do think it's important that you got to beat this Rutgers team at home, because the next road games for you are absolutely brutal. On the other side, though, we'll go ahead and throw to our first break here. I do want to talk about some of the keys to victory. But before we do that, good morning, Pierson-El. Since I talked so much about Indiana, were you expecting this at all? And do you expect this to continue then? Would be the latter. Like, how much are you buying in?
I'm gonna check into them a little bit more. They have been, impressive and shocking early on. But understanding, what who their schedule is, or what they're playing and everything like that, honestly makes, a case for things. But they're rolling, they're confident, they're playing fast, physical, and executing. They're hot right now. So that's hard to go against.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I know the competition, you could definitely make the argument there. At the same time, though, like, if you're putting up 77 points, you're not putting up 77 with the starters. Your development looks pretty nice too, because that means the second, third stringers are going in there, and they're not seeing any bit of weakness in those guys either. Well, now we'll see when the competition gets tougher, but when you're putting up that many points against Divisional I athletes, like, you can't knock them, even if it is lesser opponents. But we'll have to see. If you're the Nebraska locker room, you're not even thinking about Indiana right now. You're thinking about the Scarlet Knights. So with that being said, on the other side, we will dive into the keys of victory. We'll look at the offensive side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball. Special teams, we'll just, try to piece together what the hell Ed Foley has for a game plan. I don't know what that looks like. We'll definitely talk about that. So don't go anywhere. Don't Punt Hour with the Morning Pierson-El. We'll talk to you on the other side.
It's the fall sports season, and that means that the school year is back in session, and you're planning road trips for Nebraska football games and following your kids around to their different events. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday, and do it now. Mullen Motors lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car struggling through another season. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Lake and find your next ride. As your fall schedule gets busy, you'll need a reliable way to get to your destinations. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I'm proud of my Nebraska roots, and I'm proud to be back home. And at Midwest Bank, they're proud to be your local community bank. They believe in family first, taking initiative, showing integrity, and rolling up their sleeves to support their local communities. They treat everyone like family, no matter where you're from. Whether you walk into a branch in York, Lincoln, Norfolk, or Pierce, you know you're going to be welcomed with a smile. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
Looking for a place to relax and unwind after a busy day? Cigars Lounge at 8th and Q in the Haymarket is the perfect place to enjoy good company, a cocktail, and of course a cigar. Visit Cigars Lounge on Tuesdays for Top Shelf Tuesday and enjoy 50% off select spirits. Cigars Lounge offers Perdomo, San Cristobal, Rock Patel, and more of the top stogie brands that you know and love. But that's not all. If you mention this ad between noon and 5 p.m., you'll receive 15% off your entire tab just by mentioning the ticket. Check out Cigars Lounge today at 8th and Q in the Haymarket. All right, Rico, let's do the final checklist before we head out. We have a lot of people coming to the tailgate today. I'm ready. Burgers? Check. Chips? Check. Icy cold beer? Check. Except this one. I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Where's the Führer's cheese spread? I can't stop eating it. Rico, relax. I always pack extra. It's the biggest hit of the tailgate.
For the best appetizer, party dip, and tailgate snack, load up on Führer's cheese spread today in most local grocery stores.
Riddle's Jewelry is excited to be celebrating 65 years. 65 years of so many incredible memories celebrating with each of your special moments. In celebration of the 65th Riddles Jewelry anniversary, we will be offering up to 40% off all engagement rings and all diamond fashion jewelry. The excitement doesn't stop there. Riddles Jewelry is also offering 18 months, 0% interest and $0 down financing on all qualifying purchases. Riddles Jewelry has always been known for incredible customer service, one of the largest selections of engagement rings, and don't forget about the on-site jeweler. Come celebrate with us at Riddles Jewelry, your one-stop diamond shop with exclusive Levian jewelry, Pandora Charm jewelry, and more. All at Riddles inside Gateway Mall. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel is the answer to all your lunch and dinner cravings. They have everything from smoked turkey sandwiches to brisket burritos to burnt-in sandwiches and pulled pork. Try a dinner plate option of barbecue nachos, a half-smoked chicken, a full slab of ribs, and so much more. Don't forget their great sides like mac and cheese, cheesy potatoes, barbecue beans, or red slaw. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, open Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
What's the radon level at your home? Don't know? Find out with a call to Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Make sure your home is safe with a radon check from Bryant. If you've already tested, ask Bryant for a free estimate for mitigation. Once completed, you'll get a report showing how much safer your home is. When it comes to radon, call Bryant 467-1111 for testing and mitigation. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a champ, it's action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce, and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. Touchdown! This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love. This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in to the Don't Punt Hour. We got the Husker Memorial Stadium background because we are going to start diving into tomorrow's home game, or excuse me, not tomorrow, Saturday's home game versus the undefeated Scarlet Knights. Another undefeated team. This is going to be a trend for Nebraska. They're going to play undefeated team after undefeated team. It's going to be a little bit of fun for Nebraska to see if they can give a lot of these teams their first loss, because I'm sure Rutgers, it's obviously the case this week. Indiana will probably be the case again the next week, and then Ohio State, unless something crazy happens, you'll probably get 3 undefeated teams in a row. So I think the order to do this, talking about keys to victory, because they're going to tie into each other, would go offense, then special teams, then defense. So offense, DeMornay Pierson-El, give me your keys to victory at home, 3:00 this Saturday versus Rutgers.
One of the three. I think offense is going to have to play clean. Clean and consistent. They're going to have to finish drives. I think that's going to be big just because you have time of possession and everything like that. Last week, it was proven. We had the ball. We had the ball in their territory. Penalties pushed us out of, field goal range, or the field goal was blocked and whatnot and everything like that. Just because we moving the ball, won't be good enough. So playing clean, concise, and putting the ball in the end zone, I think that's kind of like all into one. They kind of go hand in hand. I think you do that. That's the first key to or the first step in the right direction. Without that, it's going to be a struggle. Secondly, I think we're going to have to play better on third downs.
1 for 8, I think, versus Purdue was 1 for 7, 1 for 8 is all we were.
Yeah. We're going to have to play better on third downs. Sustained drives. Rutgers has a decent defense. When they get into the red zone, they kind of get a little stingy. But their third down convergence is, I would say, is fairly good. They're usually, getting teams off of the field. So offense, again, goes back to sustaining drives. They're going to have to convert those third downs, whether a yard or third and short, third and medium, hopefully staying out of those third and medium, third and long type situations. You do big on third downs. I think, it ends very well, for the offensive side of the ball. Lastly, I think the offensive line has to kind of emerge their head a little bit more. They have to, be the imposer and physical, whether that's in pass pro or, blocking, whichever running back is back there. Cause I know it's back to, I think, 4 running backs. And I know he's trying to spread the ball. I'm rolling with Emmett. I think he makes the offensive line looks better. But I mean, even if it's somebody else, everybody has to pick up the slack a little bit more to get the job done, whether that's, passing, whether that's, running the ball and everything like that. It's gonna take more to get the job done.
Yeah, and this wasn't going to be one of my keys to victory, but you might as well put it as a side note for it. Emmett Johnson, 15 carries at least. That better be in the game plan because he does make that offensive
18
line
plus for me. I mean, honestly, if it's not 20, I'm pissed. That's just me personally, but I mean, 18.
I agree with you, but I've seen the past few games and he's had 0. So give me 15 to at least have some confidence that you see what we're seeing, because he makes the offensive line look the best. He does more with less, and he's shown that over and over and over. Dowdell, he's a good player, deserves to be in the mix. Ramir Johnson, good player, deserves to be in the mix. But Emmett Johnson, time and time again, has shown you he's able to do more with the less. He might not be able to he might not be the guy to go run for 90 yards, but he's going to be the guy to get you 5 more often than not. And I'll take that guy every single time, especially in Big Ten play. That's a little rant there. That's all I'm going to rant on Emmett Johnson. We've done it enough all week. I'm sure the Husker staff is tired of hearing the entire media scream at them about Emmett Johnson, but I think they deserve a little bit of it. So that being said, with the offense, I think you're right. Time of possession, I'll credit Austin Orman for saying this all the time. It does not matter at all if you're not scoring points. Who gives a damn if you've had the ball longer and you haven't scored? You just
out there making guys do cardio. And I mean, if they want to do that, we can, y'all can do that outside of Saturdays.
Exactly. So time of possession, I don't care. What I care about is you need to get points on the board and not 3. This is going to tie into the special teams, and that's why I want to put him second. You have to go get 6 on Saturday. You cannot settle for 3, because even if it's 20 yards, I'm not confident. Unless it's a PAT, I really don't feel good about the entire kicking situation, from the snap to the hold to the kicker. All those pieces aren't clicking for whatever reason. So we just got to be real here. Am I wrong for saying we need 6, not 3?
No, you're not wrong.
Yes, it's unfortunate, but that's where we are. And, maybe that's something to grade Ed Foley on at the end of the season. We'll see how this room improves. I do think, the punt return game, get a little bit better on blocking, but it's been pretty solid there. I think they have gotten better on tackling, but I will say still leaky. Brian, bring the boom Bushini should not have to make that many plays. But I mean, he's been that guy. I give him credit. He put that Purdue player on the deck. They lifted him up and basically tackled him right into the dirt. That was a momentum shift, but it is getting a little unnerving how many times he's the guy to have to go ahead and make that tackle.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to get better there. But overall, it's not too bad. But you certainly just the field goal game we really don't know about. So that's why I say you got to get 6, and then the penalties. That's a big part of 1 for 7, 1 for 8, whatever it is. Third down conversions. Pick which one. They're both terrible. A lot of that's not Dylan Raiola, playing bad. It's not the wide receivers not getting open. It's not the running backs not being able to get 5 yards. It's 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and we got a false start. Or, something happens where you get a block in the back. Sometimes those refs in that Purdue game felt like phantom calls, but you just don't even want to. There's some situations where you're so far out of the play, just don't even risk it. Don't even be in that situation because you know what the refs are looking for anytime you're at a kind of a weird angle. They're going to be looking for just the smallest amount of contact to go ahead and throw that flag. And we talked about the Big Ten officiating. You don't want to give them anything at this point because they've proven to kind of get lost with the eye candy and the speed of the games at times. And this is, of course, going to be another Big Ten officiating crew. Hopefully Matt Rule doesn't have to get another, sideline penalty. I can't. What was the penalty exactly? Was it a?
You can equate it to unsportsmanlike conduct type penalty.
Was that what it was, or was it just the sideline? I can't remember if he got caught for
it's going to be one or two things. When you see coaches get those penalties, it's either going to be a sideline warning or unsportsmanlike conduct to where he's just mouthing off at the ref and the ref gets tired or he's been warned, one too many times. So it's probably one of the two. I can't remember exactly like what it was, but I would assume something along the lines of that.
Yeah. And I will say though, I think it did get the team fired up. Having a coach, there's times where it's like, okay, the coach is fighting for you. I think he just kind of wanted to put that out there for his guys. Like, I'm going to go ahead and take one because at this point, if I don't take one, somebody else is. Like, it was getting that bad with the officiating, kind of just showing the guys, like, I got your back here. I'll yell at the refs. You just play the game. And if you watch the Chasing 3, he even kind of mentioned that a little bit, which, by the way, phenomenal job on that. I recommend everybody check that out. It was cool to see. They packaged the Illinois and Purdue game together. But going on with keys to victory here, offensively, and, of course, run the ball. That one's pretty simple. I think if you run the ball, especially in a game that might have some bad weather, let's help the quarterback out, establish the run, open up the playbook for Satterfield, make the play action a little more dangerous. Because when that pass game starts humming, that's when you see those explosive plays. They like to dial up at Corey Barney. And especially if you have Emmett Johnson, that just does wonders. When you have that back, you're starting to get damage up the middle, and then you're still motioning Ja'Cory Barney, but it's not always necessarily giving to him. You start getting success up the middle. Then the occasional time you see those linebackers start sucking up into the middle already. That's how you see those explosive plays to the outside. So that one's pretty obvious. And then the third one, just trust Dylan Raiola. I think, if you're Satterfield, you let him take some shots in this game, even if the weather is not ideal. I think he's proven it up until this point that you can let him make some pretty big calls, some pretty big shots, and he's not going to necessarily put it in harm's way. The worst he's done so far, in my opinion, is taking bad sacks, but I think he's going to get better at that as the season goes on. So yeah, trust Dylan Raiola, run the ball, and then you got to get 6, not 3. And of course, penalties. Penalties are every single game, but last week was a little extra egregious. Some of it, the officiating crew, some of it, Nebraska. You just can't be putting yourself in harm's way. Even if you're outside of the play, just don't put yourself in that position. All right, special teams, DeMornay, what do you got?
Clean operations on all special teams, not just one in particular. Clean operations. If we don't kick off, the kicker, put it in the end zone. You won't see some of those big returns or whatever if the guy is not returning it. So kick it.
What is that? We haven't had that for a few years now.
I don't know.
Play everybody, and they're always kicking it out of the end zone. For whatever reason, in Nebraska's case, we haven't been able to find a guy that can do that.
I'm not sure, but I know at this level, I feel like you have to be able to do that. Like, I would be shocked, if you couldn't. So clean operation on no false starts. no leakage, no block punts, no blocked, kicks, field goals, extra points, or anything. Clean, steady, points up that. Do necessarily a job. 2, this is particular for, the field goal team. If we put you out there to, get points on the board, get points on the board.
Yes.
That's what it is. That's your part of the game and whatnot. Special teams can make or break things. And thank God we haven't been in a situation to where it's messed us up so much. I mean, you can kind of say the Illinois game, but I mean, we had missed opportunity after missed opportunity that game kind of was more so on the team than just one unit.
Yeah.
So particularly with that, if that's your job, see it through, put the ball through the net, period, in a good way. I mean, and then you can, me nitpicking, on kickoff, and whatnot and everything like that, stay in your lanes. Teams I have identified, who the special teams dog are, but everybody else has to step up and make some things happen. And that's just not, not on kickoff, on kickoff return, on punt. You know what I mean? If it's the punter, have a better hang time, give your guys a chance to kind of get down there and do things and whatnot. So just make sure that, everybody's coming along, not just, having one all-star or 2 all-stars just get the job done.
Yeah. And we had the opportunity to have Johnny the Jet Rogers, one of the best returners. When you talk about returners for Nebraska, your name's in there. Johnny the Jet Rogers' name's in there. Johnny's numbers were insane. I think he finished his career averaging about 15.5 on punt return, which is just, I mean, that's Heisman, right? No doubts about it. That's how you get that award. But what he credits, and this is important, for a punt return in particular, your blockers got to do their job. He doesn't have those numbers if those guys don't block for him. And you go look at the tape. I mean, it wasn't like he was just making a split-second move that shook the entire defense. He had time to catch the ball, and then the blockers were doing a good enough job just to give him a couple seconds to make that first guy miss, and then he's off to the races. We haven't really had that with IGC. It's certainly been better in years past, but let's give IGC a chance. To go ahead and bring one to the house. Like he hasn't had bad blocking, but he hasn't had great blocking in that department either. And I think he is good enough, and I've seen it. After the injury, I'm not sure how much if he's lost a step or not, but certainly before it, and I still think he has that speed in him. Otherwise, I don't think they'd put him out there in that position. Give him a chance and let him bring one back to the house, but it starts with the blocking, because I don't, DeMora, you could talk about this. Like, I don't care how good you are. If the blockers aren't there, giving you at least a couple seconds, you're not going to do it.
Just do enough to get the thing started. That's it.
Exactly.
I don't care if I don't care if you push the guy left, right. If he's going left, keep him left. If he's going right, keep him right. Just give me enough to get it started. That's all that needs to happen. Finish. You don't even have to say necessarily finish blocks, but cover up your guy enough to where he can get on his third rotation of him actually running, and then you're off to the races.
Exactly. And it's easier said than done, right? Like when you're going full speed down the field to make that guy just shove a little bit the way and force him. But like I said, I think they're getting better at it. Certainly better than last year. I just want to see it continue to get better, because then we will get those huge momentum plays on special teams, because I think IGC is capable. We just got to have a little bit better blocking there, which I think is close. We might actually see some get Brock, if not to the house, significant yardage. So, special teams, that's kind of my wrap up point for that. Just execute, really. And like you said, if you're out there for 3, get 3. That's all it is, right? One job, go do it, execute. That's what you practice for. Go get 3 points. All right, defense, what do you got?
Defense. I think defense needs to be physical, not to say that they weren't. But Rutgers is a gritty, tough nose. They're gonna try and bully you. So I think the defense needs to be the hammer and not necessarily the nail. The D line, be disruptive. Not to say that they aren't or anything like that, but this is going to be one of those classic, probably Big Ten type of games. Excuse me. So I think, showing up and like I said, being the hammer, being the aggressor, knocking people back, a few yards. So, when their offensive line is coming off the line, they're not getting that yard to 2 yards push, so mess up their timing, mess up, their running back, have him, stutter his feet or do something, more so than just hitting the hole or just, being comfortable with getting downhill. So I think that's number one. Number two, make the quarterback beat us. Like if they get to a position of whatnot to where, the guy is just picking you apart or, just it's his day and he's making unbelievable throws, okay, tip your hat. It's just one of them days, or he was just hot at the moment. But I rather you place the ball in his hands than necessarily the ball be placed in their run game, and now they're kind of getting any and everything, and their offense is consistently enrolling. So make it a game to where that quarterback, make him have to be elite when he's not known to be an elite guy. I think if you do that, pressure breaks people, busts his pipes. So apply pressure, get to him, make him uncomfortable, and submit your will, and hopefully, he, not knock him back, make him uncomfortable with things. The last one you can it's kind of a two thing: turnovers. They've been awesome in that category. So yes, creating turnovers, because turnovers, can change momentum swing and things and whatnot. Turnovers is a piece of it. I think that's going to come. They've had safeties, they've had interceptions, they've had block kicks. They've had, so they've kind of done just about a little bit of everything with that. So I know that's going to happen. But let's get some interceptions back to the house. Let's get forced fumbles, picking those up and score, creating taking a little bit of pressure off the offense a little bit. Not to say that they haven't done that already, but I think if you do that and whatnot, I think that just seals the game.
Yeah, I'm not too far off on you for defense. Like, it's certainly, for me, it's force the 3 and outs often and early. Yeah, that's the Indiana offense. They are not explosive. They are explosive after some rhythmic plays downfield, and then they kind of get you guessing. They don't have enough to just go on those first series to go ahead and catch you off guard on the deep shot. I don't think, you never know, right? It's college football, but I don't think on paper they're that good to where they're going to be just lethal explosive the same way Colorado can be. If they start moving the chains, though, you start giving that OC some option in this playbook after they're moving first down after first down, that's when Rutgers offense becomes dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can get them 3 and out early, not let them establish the run, make it so that next drive coming out, like, man, we tried running it on that first series and it was a quick 3 and out. Do we break out of it? Like, you got to keep that OC having to decide to pull the trigger on the run game. And I think that's where you shut that offense down, having the OC having to really just pull back away from the run game because he's not getting anywhere and they're getting forced a bunch of 3 and outs. And then to your point, you force the game in their quarterback, Callie McManus. Now, he's undefeated, like I said, when he played for the Minnesota Gophers playing Nebraska. But over at Rutgers, and again, on the Minnesota team, he was able to do that because of the run game, not because he was lighting it up. And that's the same story here. You stop the run, you make him the guy to beat Nebraska. I don't think he's got enough talent in the wide receiver room or just in his arm to make that happen, because it's not just like Nebraska's defense is good at stopping the run. I mean, we got some great safeties and corners out there as well that I think we win the advantage there. So I think you force that. That's when you're talking about those picks.
Yep.
You get one back to the house. If you can force it into, all right, Callie McManus, you're going to have to beat Nebraska today. I don't think he's good enough to arise to that challenge. Certainly not against the Nebraska defense, who a little bit surprising. I mean, they've been solid. I want to see them be elite this week.
Yeah.
Right. Like, top 20 is nothing to snuff at. Like, I think they're a top 20 defense. I want to see a legit top 10 defense against Rutgers.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what we're waiting for in Big Ten play is give me a Nebraska defense who just absolutely shuts Rutgers down, get to that elite status. Cause right now they're solid. They're good, but I don't think you can quite call them elite just yet. This is a game to go ahead and prove you are one of those teams on the defensive side of the ball. That's kind of my key points. I think, keep the run game under 100 rushing yards from their starting running back. I think you probably win the game.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of that simple of a game plan on the defensive side of the ball. Score prediction time. Good morning, Pierson-El. What do you got? It's 3:00 Saturday afternoon at home, Nebraska versus Rutgers.
I've gone back and forth. I get that they're undefeated. Like, I can see them scoring 10 and I can see them scoring 17, but I don't think they get no more than 17. So, and I'm generous, and I hope they prove me wrong, but I'm going to go 17-31 us.
17-31. I'm not that far off. I think this is a dominant performance from the Huskers. I got them winning it 35-13. All touchdowns for Nebraska, and that score prediction. If you try to pick that one out, break down the numbers. But I think that's the kind of game it has to be. And I do think this defense will have another outstanding performance, holding them to 10 points, maybe even less. All right, good morning, Pierson-El. That's going to wrap it up for us. Appreciate you joining me on time as always. We'll do it again next week. Hope for a Husker win.